Why have you made this choice to speak out?
Because it's the truth. And if the people of East Palestine understand how we were or were not able to collect data, then it'll be a better situation.
New tonight, shocking allegations from an EPA whistleblower about the agency's response to last year's Norfolk Southern train derailment in East Palestine. The U.S. government has a specialized plane that officials say is ready to deploy within an hour of any kind of chemical disaster. But that plane didn't fly over East Palestine until 5 days after the derailment.
Tonight, a former EPA contractor claims the agency failed to follow normal procedures when testing for chemical contamination, which led to the decision to perform the controlled burn, a move he says was unnecessary. First News reporter Brandon Jaycees has the story. It's new tonight at 10.
The EPA's Aspect plane is the agency's only airborne real-time chemical detection platform. Robert Krotel wrote the software and helped interpret the data from sensors on the plane. He says while the plane is typically deployed within hours, it took 5 days to launch it to East Palestine.
We had a big delay. We noticed there was a big delay in getting the aircraft up to Pittsburgh.
How big of a delay?
5 days.
5 days.
5 days.
The Aspect plane didn't fly over the crash site until February 7th, the day after the controlled vent and burn. Krotel says even when the plane did fly, it only gathered incomplete data.
The aircraft actually only collected data, 8 minutes worth of data over the targets. We should be collecting data on the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, multiple flights on the 7th, and possibly flights. We should be there at least 2 weeks to monitor the situation.
Krotel says his team labeled the mission inconclusive because only 8 minutes of data was recorded, and the plane's chemical sensors were turned off over the creeks. But he says EPA managers changed their report to declare the vent and burn successful because the plane found so few chemicals when it did fly.
The program manager informed the operators to turn the sensors off when we were flying up a couple of the creeks. I think we did get one creek because it was right under the train car derailment, but for whatever reason, the sensors were turned off over the creek areas.
In a statement Tuesday, the EPA says it didn't even request the plane until February 5th, 2 days after the derailment, and it arrived in Pittsburgh late that day from its base in Texas. Due to icing conditions, the flight crew decided it wasn't safe to fly it on the day of the vent and burn. The EPA says Krotel's characterizations of its response are false, and that the Aspect plane is just one of many components in a comprehensive air monitoring network. The agency says its air monitor readings were below detection levels for most contaminants in the first 2 days after the derailment, and air monitoring did not detect chemical contaminants at levels of concern in the hours following the controlled burn. Reporting for WKBN 27 First News, I'm Brandon Jaycees.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lindsay Watson. Thanks for watching the WKBN 27 First News YouTube channel. If you want more video news, subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the WKBN 27 First News app for breaking news alerts.